5 minutes. That's all Olivia William had to prove her marriage was real. 5 minutes to save a billion-dollar empire. 5 minutes to convince a room full of skeptics that a corporate heiress and a South Dakota farmer were actually in love. The irony? 6 months ago, they were strangers. And the marriage? It really had started as a fraud. But somewhere between a handshake on a dusty road and this moment in a Manhattan boardroom, something impossible had happened. They'd fallen in love. This is the story of how a business deal became the real thing, and how the greatest threat to a fortune became the greatest test of the heart. But to understand how we got to that boardroom, we need to go back to the place where billion-dollar problems meet 200-acre solutions. Back to the moment when Olivia Williams' carefully constructed life came to a grinding halt on a farm road in the middle of nowhere. Caleb Benjamin knew exactly who the Williams were. William Group, one of the largest agricultural conglomerates in America. For 3 years, they'd been systematically buying up farms in his county, consolidating land, pushing out family farmers. Caleb had watched his neighbors sell, one by one. He'd refused every offer. To him, the Williams represented everything wrong with modern agriculture. So when Olivia Williams showed up on his property, his first instinct was simple: get her to leave. And there it was, the thing that made Caleb actually listen. Because Olivia wasn't offering him money. She was offering him a chance to stop the very thing he'd been fighting for 3 years. If Elijah took over William Group, Caleb's farm would become an island in a corporate sea, and islands don't survive long when the tide rises. Caleb Benjamin had 3 choices: refuse and watch his community disappear, accept money and become part of the problem, or take the deal and gamble that this exhausted heiress actually meant what she said. He chose the gamble. But he had one condition. And just like that, Olivia, William, and Caleb Benjamin were married. No romance, no celebration. Just 2 people entering a legally binding arrangement for entirely practical reasons. It was clinical, transactional, absolutely, completely fake, which made what happened next all the more unexpected, because Elijah William wasn't going to make this easy, and neither was the farm. The first 2 weeks were painful. Olivia William knew how to negotiate billion-dollar mergers. She did not know how to feed chickens, or why you don't wear white to a farm, or that 5 a.m. wasn't a suggestion, it was the schedule. Caleb didn't make it easier. He treated her like a temporary inconvenience, because that's what she was. They were roommates, not partners, business associates, not spouses. They spoke when necessary, avoided each other when possible. It was professional, polite, completely unsustainable. And then, the sabotage started. This wasn't an accident. The cuts were deliberate, strategic. Someone knew exactly where to hit to cause maximum damage, with minimum visibility. Caleb knew it, but he didn't have time to figure out who. He had minutes to save weeks of work, and for the first time since arriving, Olivia stopped being a corporate executive and started being a partner. Something shifted that morning. In the mud, and the urgency, and the shared exhaustion, Olivia stopped being a visitor in Caleb's world. She became a participant. And Caleb stopped seeing her as a corporate invader. He saw someone willing to get her hands dirty. Literally. It wasn't love. Not yet. But it was the first crack in the walls they'd both built. They never finished that conversation, because Elijah William wasn't just questioning their marriage legally, he was attacking it practically, and his next move wouldn't be subtle. $80,000 of equipment. Gone. Caleb's insurance would cover some of it, but not everything. And not in time for harvest season. This wasn't just sabotage. It was an attempt to break him, to make staying married to Olivia more expensive than it was worth. But Elijah miscalculated, because watching Caleb's face as his equipment burned didn't make Olivia want to quit. It made her want to fight. This is the moment everything changed. Not dramatically, not with declarations or kisses, just a slip of the tongue. Care. Olivia had almost said care. And Caleb had heard it. And instead of feeling trapped or obligated, he'd felt something infinitely more dangerous. He'd felt the same way. Neither of them said it out loud. The thing that had changed, the fact that this stopped being about contracts and corporations and started being about something neither of them planned for. But they both knew. The question was, would they admit it in time? Or would Elijah's final play destroy everything before they got the chance? This was it. The boardroom. The final test. Elijah had spent months building his case. Photos of them living separately in the house. Financial records showing no joint accounts. Testimony from locals about their arrangement. It was damning. It was also incomplete. Because what Elijah didn't have was the one thing that actually mattered. The truth. This was not the defense anyone expected. Admitting fraud, corporate suicide, career destruction. Except Olivia wasn't finished. And what came next was the truth that would change everything. Caleb had spent 6 months quietly gathering evidence. Every threatening call to his neighbors. Every suspicious offer. Every piece of sabotage. While Elijah was surveilling their bedroom arrangements, Caleb was building a case that would destroy him. Smart. Practical. Exactly what you'd expect from a farmer who'd spent his life protecting what matters. They won. But not because of legal technicalities or corporate maneuvering. They won because they'd done something Elijah couldn't comprehend. They'd built something real. A partnership based on trust, respect, and against all odds, love. The board voted 18 to 2 inches Olivia's favor. Elijah faced criminal charges for arson and corporate fraud. And Caleb and Olivia? They had a billion-dollar company to run. But first, they had a wedding to plan. A real one. The second wedding was nothing like the first. No sterile courthouse, no placeholder rings, no pretending. This was the real thing. And everyone who doubted them, board members, neighbors, the investigator who'd surveilled them, was there to witness it. This is how the story really ends. Not in a boardroom with legal victories, but in a field, at sunset, with 2 people who'd stopped performing and started living. Caleb Benjamin didn't marry $1 billion. He married a woman who was brave enough to jump off the corporate ladder and land in the mud. And Olivia William didn't marry a convenient solution. She married a man who taught her that the best things in life can't be contracted or acquired. They have to be cultivated together. Caleb and Olivia Benjamin, yes, she took his name-run William Group together now. She handles strategy and corporate relations from their home office on the farm. He manages the agricultural partnerships that are revolutionizing the company. They split their time between boardrooms and barns, steel towers and wheat fields. And somehow, impossibly, it works. Because they learned what Elijah never understood. The best partnerships aren't built on contracts. They're built on trust, on showing up, on fixing broken pipes at dawn and holding each other when things burn down, on choosing each other every single day. That's the real billion-dollar secret. And it can't be bought, only built. If this story feels good for you, like, comment, and subscribe.